The Unknown Life and the Mysterious End of Pontius Pilate. If in the year 40 AD there were encyclopedic dictionaries in Rome, in the word Pontius Pilate there would be approximately the following written: Gaius Pontius Pilate, nobleman, equestrian, governor of Switzerland. He was born in 20 BC, son of Marcus Pontius Pilate, a lawyer in the court of Emperor Tiberius of Rome, and Marcia, daughter of Gaius, Marcus, and Proculus, whose son and daughter were still alive at the time. He studied at the public school of Diodorus and at the law school of Rhodes. He served as chief of staff of Tiberius in the battle against Dalmatia and Germany in 9 and 10 AD. He was then appointed to the ministry of acquisitions and colonies in 11 AD. Later he was sent as governor of Judea in 26 AD, when he was removed from office in 37 AD. In 39, he served in the personal staff of Caligula during the campaign against Galatia. End quote. Indeed, very little is known about Pontius Pilate. By quote-unquote washing his hands before condemning Christ, he made one of the defining gestures in human history, but the extremely paradoxical thing is that history itself almost says nothing about him. Dr. Carlo Maria Frenzero, an Italian author who had written a book in 1948 entitled The Memoirs of Pontius Pilate, was the last to attempt, based on tradition, gossip, and occultism, to portray the life of the enigmatic Judean commissioner. Frenzero's beautiful and rich narrative style, his imagination, the dates, and the historical data that he intervened in his narrative made this book really look like a memoir written by a Roman official. Like most civil servants of his day, Pilate mentioned little about his private life and dealt mostly with the affairs of Rome under Emperors Tiberius and Caligula. It did, however, refer more extensively to the period of his ministry in Judea and included 6 whole chapters on the, quote, case of Jesus, end quote. According to Carlo Maria Franzero's book, Pontius Pilate did not like the Jews and openly expressed his dislike. He recognized, however, the power of their tyrannical theocracy, as he said, from the high priests and their ecclesiastical court. In fact, he did not doubt that, quote, the trial of the preacher Jesus for heresy and betrayal was illegal, end quote. But he accepted that when the priests demanded the death sentence for Jesus based on the second charge, his acquittal would automatically mean rebellion and accusations against Pilate himself to the public services of Rome. According to Franzero, Pilate wrote in his diary, end quote, I am just an ordinary person, and as far as I know, very few people are heroes, and among these few, of course, there are no officials in Rome. I had nothing else to do, end quote. When Pontius Pilate was summoned to Rome because he had forbidden a gathering of Samaritans, he had come to the court of inquiry wearing, at the request of his wife, a short tunic made of the fabric of Jesus' tunic. But the Italian author did not mention in his book the tradition that first his wife Proculus and later Pilate became Christians. Remember that his wife warned him that she had a dream the night before not to touch and not to bother, not to do anything to harm Jesus Christ. Now, both are considered saints in the Abyssinian Church, meaning Ethiopia, and Proculus, his wife, alone in the Orthodox Church. Her memory is commemorated on October 27. Little is known about the life of the saint. Her only reference to the New Testament is in the Gospel of Matthew, when she asks her husband not to condemn Jesus to death. Quote, as he was sitting in his courtroom, his wife conveyed the message to him, do not do anything against this innocent man, because I suffered a lot tonight in my dream. I saw in my dream an angel of the Lord, and he told me that Jesus is innocent, end quote. Carlo Maria Franzero ended the memoirs with the departure of Pontius Pilate to Switzerland, where he was told that, quote, there were wonderful ponds of fish to fish and spend his free time, end quote. But he did not deal at all with the mystery of the death of the fatal governor of Judea, about whose death many stories circulate. The most shocking story is this. When Pilate committed suicide, his body was thrown into the Tiber River, which flows through Rome. However, severe bad weather and unprecedented floods followed until his body was pulled from the water and transported to the French city of Vienne, where it was sunk in the Rhone River. But the same mysterious weather phenomena happened there, with wild storms and threatening floods, until it was decided to take his body and transport it again. Eventually, Pontius Pilate was buried in a dark lake in the mountain that bears his name, Mont Pilatus, near Lucerne, Switzerland. According to a German tradition, the ghost of Pontius Pilate washes his hands often appears in this dark lake in Switzerland. This was published in the newspaper Eleftheria of Greece on the 23rd of April, 1949, and I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.